All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We have a good amount of recovery in the crypto markets right now. We're going to look at that and say, hey, we got some green on the crypto charts this morning. That's one of the first things everybody's got their mind on when they're checking their phone over this weekend. We got Bitcoin back above $22,000, ETH back above $1,400 above its 2017 to early 2018 all-time high. So we're gonna talk about that. All right, we're gonna look at a lot of news updates that have happened in the live stream since live stream on Friday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're gonna find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions and a whole lot more. So if you're around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step, start to finish, then definitely head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. And the Blockchain Bootcamp 2.0 launch event ends this Wednesday, okay? So just make sure you sign up with the link down below today. If you sign up with the page, you will get instant access. We're going to close in that launch event this Wednesday, so we just have 2 short days. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got David Stone. All right, we're live. Awesome. Coachap, Kodia. Let's see here. Robert, Douglas, Jay, Dale, Yanni, Tebo, Clyde. See here. Lisa, Bruno. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. So first of all, I'm glad to be back in my normal office setting. Again, I had some family responsibilities, some family emergency that I had to take care of over the past 4 or 5 days. So was not able to stream on Thursday. Had to do a quick check-in on Friday outside my normal office. So I'm glad to be back with you all today and be back to our regularly scheduled programming. So Let's go ahead and talk about it. So on Friday, we talked about the big ETH merge that is coming up in September. All right, that has been penciled in for the middle of September. That's some pretty exciting stuff on the calendar. And we are starting to see some green on the crypto chart. So this is the first time really in quite a while we've seen crypto start to make some type of recovery. So now we'll look at the recovery that's on the table. So and examine, what does this mean? Is this the big recovery, all right, where we start our road back to our previous all-time highs and beyond, or is this something temporary? So that's what we're going to look at right now. So first of all, let's take a look at some of the price levels for Bitcoin and ETH that we have currently jumped back above the past 24 hours and why they are significant. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about Ether, because that's kind of the star of the show. Of course, we see green across pretty much the entire crypto market right now on a 24-hour time frame and a 7-day time frame. There's a couple outliers in there, right? But for most everybody, we see a significant price increase, especially with ETH here hitting on 27% on a 7-day time frame, which is a pretty big contrast to the price action we've seen over the past 6 months. So let's look at a price level that ETH has recovered and why this is a big deal. So first of all, ETH has reclaimed its 200-week moving average. It's starting to eye some of these other long-term moving averages that lots of traders are watching for accumulation. Okay, again, I'm not a big TA guy on this channel. I don't try to use TA as like some astrological forecast for exactly what's going to happen next with the price. But there are lots of people who watch this type of stuff, start making buying decisions about when they want to start getting into the markets and actually looking at trend reversal, all that type of stuff. So there is some benefit to it, right? I'm not trying to use it to say like, oh, this is exactly what the ETH price is going to be a week from now based on this funny line on the chart here. But watching these levels recover above these certain levels is a significant sort of data point to look at when you're trying to forecast the general trajectory of where this whole show could head next. All right, so ETH starting to decline these levels is a good thing, but let's talk about why, because it's not all just numbers on a screen, right, that cause price to continue on into one direction or the other. Now, in a frothy bull market, sometimes it can be, right, just because number go up, more people chase number go up. But in a market like we're in right now, the fundamentals of what's happening in the broader space definitely play a big factor. So what's the big thing for ETH? So Friday we talked about how the Ethereum 2.0 proof of stake merge, was basically a soft date for that launch has been put out there. Okay, so basically middle of September, roughly September 14th. Let's actually pull up this date here. Make sure I get it wrong here. So let's see, actually September 19th, I believe, is the week of September 19th is the big date that we're talking about here. So this is the big transition from ETH moving from proof of work to proof of stake. All right. We've been talking about this for a long time. Lots of people think like, oh, they're just kidding this time. It's going to keep getting pushed back. It's going to keep getting pushed back. We could see some delays, something like this, but we are very, very close in a verifiable way for this, because we've been doing it on the test networks, and you can actually verify that the merges have taken place in the test network. It's all publicly available information. You can see it. It's not just like promises that we're moving in the right direction. We're basically there. So, barring some really bad things happening, I think we're probably on track for the proposed timeline. So that's the big story behind ETH right now in terms of being the market leader. Of course, on Friday, we kind of talked about, could this be the beginning of a merge trade? Could this be good for the price of ETH? And I've always said, hey, it's kind of a mixed bag, because if we're in, just some crazy headwind where the entire crypto market can't recover, then it's hard to see how the merge is going to be super bullish for the ETH price. But I do think in the short term, it looks like we are starting to see some type of merge trade play out. But part of the reason that's even working in the first place is you're starting to see a general recovery in the crypto markets on the whole. So let's look at that's one thing to consider. So now the fork is in the road. Is this just a relief rally in the middle of a longer term bear trend that we're just going to get kicked back down as soon as we get up, or are we actually going to see some type of bottom? So let's talk about a few things to consider in that regard, because at the end of the day, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but you have to think about things in terms of likelihood and also reasons why scenarios would play out, one over the other. So, let's talk about a potential bottom for all of crypto. I've been saying for weeks, and really more like months, more like a month on this channel, that there's been a lot of bottom signals in place. Okay, I really don't care anything about trying to perfectly call or time the bottom, either for the benefit of making as much money as possible or like getting as much clout as possible. The risk reward for that is really not that favorable, so I don't really care about that. But what I do care about is sort of tracking that trend over time and trying to say like, hey, okay, do we have potential for a bottom? What do bottoms tend to look like? So, again, I don't really try to think about it too much in terms of just like looking at a chart and trying to say like, okay, we've got this really specific pattern on the Bitcoin chart, right? And because we see this pattern play out, that of course that means we're in a bottom and that the price is just going to magically turn around. I always think about it in terms of like, fundamentals and looking into the market for signs of a bottom rather than just what the chart says. So, we've seen a ton of blowups. We've seen a ton of insolvencies. We've seen just a crazy amount of, sell volume on a few really specific instances. Crypto's kind of got hit harder than the stock market in many cases. Of course, it's a higher risk asset, but I think we've had some crypto-specific problems that have exacerbated some of those issues that I think has really drug it down. And I think a lot of the forced selling and the fundamental factors that could potentially, the big factors that continue to drag the price down just really, 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 really hard within the crypto-specific sector. Could be dried up right now. Like there's only so many people that can continue to blow up and become insolvent. I get there's contagion risk. I get all that type of stuff, but it's very possible that the worst of that stuff is behind us. Like, the fears of like another Celsius blow up, the fears of another major algorithmic stablecoin blowing up, the fears of this, that, the other. Like a lot of that was sort of this confluence of activity all at one time, which very well could mark the bottom of that crypto specific problem. Now, again, it's too early to tell exactly, because bottoms are only visible in hindsight for sure. But there's a lot of reasons to think why a bottom would potentially be in. So let's look at another factor here. in terms of, whether it's a bottom is in or whether we're in a relief rally. So, the other sort of fork in the road here is that the recovery that we're seeing in crypto, which, looks great. Maybe it's fueled by, an ETH merge. Maybe it's fueled by some relief in the stock market. We'll also talk about that here in a minute. Is, just the possibility of it being a relief rally where we start to see things kind of come back down to their previous levels and maybe even make in new lows, which is the Fed meeting. I think it's next week. I think it's July 26th. So we do have another, Fed meeting coming up pretty soon, where we're going to discuss the next interest rate hikes. So, ever since the beginning of this year, the big crypto crash bear market that we've been a part of, has not just been a crypto-specific problem. I've talked about crypto-specific problems like insolvencies and blowups, all that stuff. But the general trend has not just been crypto's own issue. Of course, we've seen that across the stock market. We've seen it across many, many, many other assets, on this big bear trend. And when you see these things that look like one another, it's like, well, it's either one's influencing the other, all right, or they're influenced by a common factor, or it's sheer coincidence. And I believe that it's a common factor, which is basically the broader economy, the central bank tightening its monetary policy, And so a lot of that's, in response to the inflation that we've been seeing, been trying to get inflation under control. Of course, in June, the inflation, in July, when we had the inflation numbers come out for June, they always are a month late, or on a month delay. The June inflation numbers were bad, June inflation numbers were bad. So there is the possibility, there's the possibility that, our meeting next week, we start to get more aggressive rate hikes than even before, like 100 basis point interest rate hikes. So I think this is an event, plus the earnings that are coming in, that you don't want to get too confident that crypto is just going to rip off to a new all-time high. All right, because we've got a couple unknowns in terms of the macro ahead of us. Now, that being said, there's also the view that a lot of this stuff is priced in already. That the markets are pricing this stuff way ahead of time, and that the stock market already is aware of this, that, by proxy, that crypto is also aware of it, since it's been a very just highly, high beta stock at this point throughout this entire trend, that, it is already predicting these types of things, and that when they actually happen, it won't matter as much. But, I don't want to get too excited until we get some clarity on what those new rates are going to be. So, let's see here. Yeah, so definitely want to check out that Fed meeting next week. I think it's next week. What is today? 18th. So, it'll be next week. But another sort of counter signal, in terms of the broader economy, is basically trying to find leading indicators of what is going to happen with inflation. Because, right now, the monetary policy, the Fed is trying to get inflation under control through rate hikes, And, one big factor, so part of the real challenging thing here is this long feedback cycle, and this becomes like really kind of drawn out, where, you have all these factors that cause inflation, and then, we have to wait for the CPI data to come out, all right, and then the market finds out what that is, and then it reacts to it, positive or negative. Typically, it's been volatile in one direction or the other. And then you have to wait, for the Fed to respond with what their monetary policy is going to be in response to that inflation data. So you have a months lagging indicator. Now, you can kind of get ahead of some of that right now. At least this is one view, one data point the market's going to look at with what's going on with, crude oil prices, So basically, let me see here. watching oil prices can somewhat be a leading indicator of all this because, oil prices are going to have a huge impact on the price of pretty much everything right now. In the CPI data, we're talking about consumer price index is, of course, what people are paying for actually fuel their vehicles, but also like fuel prices, influencing everything pretty much. If you want to travel, well, there's fuel involved in that. You want to buy something at the grocery store, well, you probably didn't grow it in the backyard of the grocery store, so it had to come from somewhere. It's got to get on a truck, airplane, boat. All right, that takes fuel as well. Anything that has to be shipped, everything, we have a massive supply chain. Everything has shipping involved. So fuel affects the price of everything. So basically, you can kind of start to watch fuel, or watch oil basically, to see, you use it as kind of a leading indicator of what might happen down the road. And let's just see here. Trying to find my oil chart. I lost it here. Let's see here. But anyways, there's a growing view that inflation has likely peaked. Okay, we've seen oil price, likely peak. All right, we're at 121 per barrel. We've dropped below $100 a barrel. I see this, trying to eye its way back up to $100 a barrel. But if you're, like I said, I'm not a big TA guy, but if you're going to draw a line on here, you could kind of see this as resistance in the price as it's sort of bouncing lower and lower and lower. So that's kind of the caveat to the inflation, broader economy stuff. We're already starting to see some indication that are leading indicators of even the CPI print and then the Fed's response to that we could see, inflation, the rate of inflation coming down, that June could potentially have the worst behind us. And if the June numbers in terms of rate of inflation were the worst and that they are in fact behind us, then that could be a good time to lay the foundation for a longer term crypto recovery. Okay. Now, if we are on the road to a longer road to a crypto recovery, like let's say the bottom was actually in, like all these indicators I'm talking about, it's not necessarily just like a rocket ship straight line up to new all-time highs. Okay, and in prior bear markets, we've seen these sort of longer accumulation periods where the price is flat for months even before we start to really make a new bull leg. Okay, we can kind of see some of that here. Let's look at some past trends. But then again, it's also crypto stuff can happen really fast. Okay, nobody really knows. That's kind of what makes this space exciting. So like the last, here's in 2018. All right, we saw this, this big leg down. Everybody thought we were about ready to moon. Okay, and this was, like a 2 month, 3 month period, and then woof. Now that was a false start. It totally came back down. And then we have March 2020, which is this very scary time. And then eventually we made this happen. So yeah, a lot can change really, really fast. The other thing to watch out for is definitely what's going to happen with the ETH merge. So, if Ethereum becomes the star of the show for a little while, which it very well could be, based on this merge event, you gotta watch out for a buy the rumor, sell the news situation. So, we could see ETH lead a recovery, even get back up to some significant price levels. I'm not necessarily saying new all-time highs or the even previous all-time highs, but increasing in price significantly from where it is now. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stay there, because if you got traders eyeing this thing, okay, you got a lot of people who are going to try to sell it and front run the new ETH that's going to be hitting the market that's been locked up for a really long time. Now, you have to understand with the ETH 2.0 merge, that ETH is not going to hit the market, instantly upon merge. Okay. So it's going to take some time. There's going to be a post-merge cleanup period before that happens. But that being said, you get a lot of traders who know that, and then know that basically a lot of people don't understand that either, and they're going to try to sell whenever it hits that as well. But Disney and Polygon could be a sweet ride. Yeah, we are seeing a pretty big run up in Polygon. Like Polygon is basically 2x'd in a matter of, I think, like 17 days, like Polygon Matic. So we're here on a 14-day timeline, 47 cents all the way up to 93 cents. Yeah, it's 2x. So one of the big factors there, of course, we're seeing a recovery across a lot of stuff. But specifically for Polygon, he's seeing a pretty big recovery after their update with the Disney accelerator. So Polygon has been rising along with support trend line. During this uptrend, it has broken several lines of resistance, culminating in a decisive break of the ascending triangle pattern on July 18th. Okay. Basically, what's the news of Disney, though? I saw this. I just didn't get to dig into it as much because I was not in my office. I was kind of off my normal routine here. Let's just look at it here. Disney announced it has selected Polygon alongside with Lockerverse to InflickPay to join its accelerator program, which aims to develop technology to create new storytelling experiences. So this was Polygon Hermes. Okay, so y'all can look more into that. We'll talk about it maybe more on our streams once I get time to actually investigate the details. I suppose USD is falling. Let's actually look at the DX. Let's look at it. Yeah, it is falling in the short term. So I don't have a real sophisticated chart to pull up here. This is a line chart, but you can see what it's doing right now. So we'll see if that ends up being a terminal top. I mean on a longer time frame. But in the short term, that is another good data point that's kind of inversely correlated with, crypto, and especially the risk assets. Bottom is 13K. Look at CME futures. So it says, but a bear market won't go back up. Some agency will be dumping insane amounts of BTC around August. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it did say Disney. So they got in Polygon 10 days ago, timed it well. Awesome. So Yanni says, outdone myself with Bootcamp 2.0, Epic 2.0 Bootcamp, best far learning. Awesome. Super glad. Yeah, definitely. We've got 2 more days to jump in on the Blockchain Bootcamp 2.0 launch. You can jump in with the link down below. Why is ETC up even more than ETH? How's ETC doing? Let's take a look here. Yeah, ETC is up 50%. 50% on a 7-day timeline. All right, everybody. That's all I got for today. I got to jump off again. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Throw these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find those free courses. They're like Udemy courses. They're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you'll take a master shortcut entirely. You know, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. And we do have the Blockchain Bootcamp 2.0 launch event that's just ending in 2 days. All right, so make sure you hold your spot. The link down below. All right, you definitely don't want to miss this. So that's all I've got, and until next time,